All right, good morning. And thank you for joining for the Accidental Homeschooler. I'm Sam Sorbo, your host. I'm doing one of these every morning. I love this because I really want people to understand the benefits of home education. And today we're going to talk about, basically, I'm just going to give everyone a crash course in home education because I've been very busy promoting the coronavirushomeschooling.com website, which offers curriculum for K through 5. I've partnered with the Texas Homeschool Coalition to get the word out in order to come alongside parents and help them navigate these basically what they perceive as uncharted waters. They are charted. We've been there and done this. I've been doing it for over a decade. Texas Homeschool Coalition's been doing it for over 3 decades. We know how to get this done, but parents today have been lulled into this sort of, we drop our kids off at school, the schools take care of it, and my job is done. I've delegated the responsibility and the authority, and now they're stuck because the authority and the responsible parties, the so-called responsible parties, are saying, no, it's on you now. And then you've got places like the Washington Post coming out and printing articles like, this will set back a whole generation for education. It's going to ruin people and all that. And the homeschoolers that I know across the nation are saying, no, it won't. It will actually enhance your education opportunities, and it can be really a blessing as opposed to a curse. So, but let's talk about just a crash course in homeschooling, do's and don'ts, because there are a lot of mistaken ideas out there about home education. And my goodness, if I hear what about socialization one more time, I'm just going to, I don't know, fly away something. Anyway, do's and don'ts. Number one, don't try to replicate school. Your house, your home is not an institution. And frankly, the schools aren't really getting it done. So why you would want to replicate an outdated model for education in your own home when you have the ability right now to reinvent, to reinvigorate, to re-energize your child's education. Just don't go back to the old, what they call tried and true, but it's not tried and true anymore because it's not working. So, for the most part, and I've got a couple of emails that I want to get to at the end of this. Don't try to replicate school. See what works for you, for your child, for your children, for your family. Don't try to do everything. Set reasonable goals. Teach, if you think about how you taught your children to walk, okay? Well, they taught themselves to walk. Yeah, that's how it works, right? You just showed them, hey, I'm walking, we're walking. Take my hand, I'm going to walk with you a little bit. Oh, you fell down. Okay, here we go. We're going to go again. Oh, you want to crawl a little bit? Okay, crawl a little bit, right? You didn't actually teach them to walk. You didn't say, okay, this is walking. We take one foot, and then if you look, my heel goes down. You didn't go through all of that. You just showed them walking and encouraged them. That's what home education is. You show them the materials and you encourage them. And yeah, okay, some of it you have to sort of set the boundaries and maintain, right? Like for Latin, like many kids don't want to learn Latin. Not all, but many. It's hard, right? It's challenging. And gosh, it's so much easier to sit on the couch and eat Doritos and play games, right? So yeah, some things you need to set up for success. But the reason that we do that is so that the child can have that success. Remember when you didn't want to learn Latin and now you know Latin, and look what you did. It's amazing what you did, right? That kind of thing. Okay, so set reasonable goals, but don't expect your child to just, I don't know, don't expect your child to finish the math book in a week, right? It's one lesson a day, and slow and steady wins the race. Okay. Don't subscribe to the same expectations as conventional school does. So conventional school puts the children on basically a treadmill. By this age, they should be reading at this level. By this age, they should be doing math at this level. By this age, and it's all age related. Basically, give or take 12 months. Don't do that. Yes, yes, I understand that we have a propensity to compare ourselves to other people. Was it Einstein didn't read until he was 10 or something like that? And he was Einstein. I'm just saying, your child is special and unique. And so don't necessarily just say, oh my gosh, he's not doing this. Quick story, when my middle child was in second grade, I thought he was so slow reading. It was driving me crazy. So I spent a concerted amount of effort to try to bring him up to his proper reading level because he was just so slow at it. And then when I had him tested, they said he was reading at a 5th grade level. He was in second grade. And I still thought he was remedial. I still thought, oh, my child is so slow. So I'm just saying the comparison doesn't necessarily work. Know that you will get there in time. So just slow and steady, one day. If you're seeing progress, excellent, you're seeing progress. If you can speed it up a little bit, great, speed it up a little bit. As long as you're not like overstressing the child, you'll get there. It's just one day at a time. Okay. Don't permit electronics. No. Electronics are a no-no. They're not permitted in class. I know, don't compare yourself to the classroom, but that's actually a good rule. Or if they are permitted in class, I don't know why they are. So they shouldn't be permitted in class. They shouldn't be permitted at home. And you can have a basket. I know lots of families do a basket and people check their electronics, turn them off, put them in the basket and forget about them for the time that you're doing school. Okay. If you need your electronics because you have a job and you have to be, on call or whatever, then you explain that to the child. Mommy has to make a living. Daddy has to work. So I'm going to be doing this with you, but if daddy's work calls, daddy's work takes precedence because you can wait. And that's just the way it is. And while you're waiting, you can do this, So I get it, you're juggling, but you can do this. Okay. Don't permit electronics. What's the final thing? Don't permit eye rolling. There is no eye rolling in homeschool. That's a big one because that is disrespectful. I have a hair in my face. Oh, that's better. Eye rolling is disrespectful. And so eye rolling is not permitted. And if there is eye rolling, well, you have to state the law. You have to lay down the law. And then if there is eye rolling, then it needs to be dealt with immediately. And there have to be consequences. Oh my gosh, did you just roll your eyes? Okay, one more page of math. I'm sorry, but eye rolling is not permitted. Right? Or I don't like to use homework as punishment, but the kids certainly feel like it is punishment. So that's like a tightrope that you walk. But electronics can certainly be used as punishment. Wow, that was an eye roll. No electronics until 4. Or however you've set it up. So if they get electronics back when they finish their work, then they have to wait an extra hour or an extra 2 hours or whatever. However you feel is the commensurate punishment for the crime, right? But it's important to maintain a level of authority and certainly a level of obedience. Okay. What are the do's? What are the do's of homeschooling? Approach this with joy. Sit down. And by the way, gosh, I talk about this a lot. Your attitude makes all the difference. So when you start your day, start the day with an attitude of joy. And even if you don't feel the joy, say that you have the joy. When I used to golf. I stopped when I had kids because it was just too much of my day. But I used to golf. I was horrible. I was a terrible golfer. I really was. I think I broke 100 twice in my whole golfing career. Terrible. But when my ball went in the sand, I started practicing this approach with joy. And so I would say, I am awesome out of the sand. It was completely not true. It was completely a fib, but I would say it. Oh, yay, sand. I'm awesome out of the sand. I'm going to do a great thing here. And my sand shots improved like by light years just because I changed my attitude. Just because I changed my attitude. So your attitude will get you very far. If you approach with joy, if you approach this like it's going to be fun, your kids will pick up on that energy. And it doesn't even matter if you believe it. It doesn't matter. Actually, your body language will convince yourself, will convince you. Yay, let's do some school. Okay. And then when it's over, you say, yay, we did it. We're done. Yay, right? Your enthusiasm will prevail. Okay. And then you need to have some rules. So my suggestion is you start with a schedule. Now, I know plenty of families, and tomorrow we're going to be talking about different types of homeschool. I know plenty of families who homeschool without a schedule, which I need a schedule. I like to, get my day started kind of at the same time every day with the kids. And I've done that since the beginning. So I've always started with a schedule, and I very much advise you, encourage you to start with a schedule. Also, you might want to insist that people get dressed. Just because you dress to go to work, school is sort of considered, in a sense, work. You are empowering your children by insisting that they get dressed. You're actually sort of making them live up to a standard, which is good to set. It's good to have standards. And so I would say you might want to implement some rules and some guidelines. And part of that would be the time you start your day, what you're required to show up with. And so when my kids were really young, I would start at 9. They had to be seated at the table, having already had breakfast. And then fairly quickly, I relaxed that to seated at the table with their breakfast, just because it worked for us. And it worked. And so they were seated. They weren't allowed to get up and go get things because they had to have everything ready. But that was sort of the goal. And we made that goal. We always start with a little bit of a devotion. We read the Bible. We do a little bit of a devotion. That's how we start our day. It feels really good to start the day in prayer. It just does. So I encourage that. Even if you're not like real Bible people, there's nothing wrong with starting your day with a positive outlook and a grateful prayer. There's nothing wrong with it. And in fact, if you're into devotionals because the Bible is kind of scary and you don't know where to start to read the Bible, first of all, I'll tell you, start reading the Bible. Pick any book. Pick one of the Gospels and just start there. It's a good story, right? And you just read a little bit every day and you can talk about it with your kids. And I don't care if you know what you're talking about. In fact, if you don't know what you're talking about, get yourself a Bible that has annotations in it. And you can read the notes right there. Or you can look them up on your phone, for crying out loud. Like it's not rocket science, and it's a great thing to do. The other thing is, of course, my devotional Teach from Love, which is available at my website, samsorbo.com. And this is teaching godly virtues to our kids. So this is a lot of fun, especially for younger kids. It's just little, 1 page a day. You read a little story. You ask some questions. You have a short discussion. Of course, you start with the word. So every day starts with a Bible quote, a Bible verse. Sorry, and that's also a great way to start the day. And it's nice to start your day in this sense of community, sense of family, sense of coming together. We're a family. We're going to come together to do this. And then, okay, so. Get dressed. And by the way, if you insist on dressing every day, then when you make Fridays pajama day, we don't have to get out of our pajamas. It becomes more special. And that's just a great thing. And you become the hero because you've decreed that it's pajama day. And you don't have to make every Friday. You just say, you know what, this Friday, we will have pajama day for school. You're a hero. Okay, plan meals. Don't just go snacking all day long. It's too easy at home. I just love to snack, and I'm really training myself to stop it. Stay out of the pantry until the hours of lunchtime or the hour of dinner time. Require obedience. First time's a charm, folks. Require obedience the first time. And the way to get obedience the first time is to institute, what's the word I'm looking for? Consequences. Immediate consequences. Not like super harsh, not like screaming and yelling. Never scream and yell. There's no point. Just immediate consequences. Oh, shoot, you did that. Now I got to do this. Dang, are you going to do it again? You did it again? All right, then we have to escalate to this. What's next? How far are we going to go? Easy, calm, you're just maintaining your authority. And if it goes to, wow, you just lost all of your electronics privileges for a month, I'm sorry you did that. That's got to be really tough on you. That's terrible. I don't see any way for you to earn it back. Maybe there's a way for the child to earn it back, but they will learn the lesson. Do you see what I'm saying? And you just stay calm, you maintain. I've already done a video on obedience. What did I call it? Authority. So you can take a look at that. Do practice cleanup policies, especially for younger kids. Now, whether you assign the individual tasks, I tend to assign for kitchen because I struggle with my kids keeping the kitchen clean. So I tend to go and whose turn is it? Okay, your turn. You're doing the dishes. Your turn to empty the dishwasher. Your turn to clean the counters, right? I assign. But maybe you just, for your family, it works to just everybody work together. We're going to clean up. And you can do it that way. We used to sing a song, clean up, everybody, everywhere, clean up, everybody do your share, something like that. And you can make up songs. And here's a cleanup song. We're going to sing the cleanup song. We're going to clean up. That makes it more fun for kids. You can do sort of contests, throwing things in the bins to put them away, right? You can try to make it fun for your younger kids, but do practice that so that we don't just get sloppy, lazing about the house all day. I know this is hard, but we are going to get through it. So work on having fun. Those are the do's and don'ts. If you have any questions, please send me your questions. You can go to samsorbo.com. You can see all the previous videos there or here on YouTube. Please subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm trying to get the subscriptions up because I need to get the word out. If this video has helped you, please recommend it to friends. I would really appreciate that. I also do a radio show every day at 10 a.m., mojo50.com. Mojo50.com every day, 10 a.m. It's also podcast at mikeonline.com, mikeonline.com. That's M-I-K-E on online.com. That's thanks to Salem Media and Mike Gallagher's show. You can find me at samsorbo.com. You can find my husband at kevinsorbo.net. Tomorrow we will be talking about different types of homeschool. What type are you? And I said that I was going to talk a little bit about emails. Oh gosh, George emailed me. I want to thank you for the videos on homeschooling. I find them very informative. Guess where he lives? Athens, Greece. That's awesome. You Grecians really need to homeschool and talk to your kids about capitalism and freedom and stuff. All right. I did have somebody reach out to me and tell me that they heard in one of my interviews that I was like dissing on teachers. And just to clarify, I don't diss on teachers. I think teachers are working in a very compromised system. So I don't blame teachers for the effects that we see from the institution, okay? And so he wrote me and he said, I have to come to my wife's defense. He was also extremely complimentary, so thank you very much. But he came to her defense and said that he believes that while the system is an imperfect system, the teachers are basically stuck. And I think they are. I mean, certainly with Common Core came down and said, you must teach this way. Well, they're removing any autonomy from the teachers. And so what they're doing is they're not only saying that every child is the same, they're saying that every teacher needs to be the same. I mean, way to homogenize a society while you're saying that you believe in diversity. You're actually trying to remove diversity from the society. It's kind of weird. And so he wanted to give me some insight into the teacher's challenge. He says that the teachers are presented with having to match curriculum and assignments across the board. So one of the things apparently that's problematic in our public schools is some kids don't have access to the internet and other children do. Well, we can't just allow the other children who have access to the internet to sort of improve on their education while children who don't have access and can't improve on their education. So we need to basically take out all of the advancements of technology because certain among the students don't have access. So the rest of you are prohibited because some of you don't have access. This is what Common Core does too, by the way. It dumbs everything down to the same level. It's not going up to the same level. It's going down to the same level because some kids are too far advanced and the other kids can't possibly catch up. So we have to hold the advanced kids back so that everybody's at the same level. He tells me that his wife provides 3 different ways to keep day-to-day track of a child's progress. And he says, from hearing her frustrations, many parents do not keep track at all. He says maybe 50 to 60% of the parents do the work the teachers are putting together. He says, I know it sounds negative to believe that number will be so low, but unfortunately what I'm seeing in the market, and he works in the supermarket world apparently, he says people seem to be prioritizing the wrong things. What is sad is that so many kids will suffer consequences if their parents' actions or lack of action. And so he also says that he sees the benefits of homeschooling because as his wife is now home every day with their 2 children, he definitely sees the benefits, but they can't provide everything by pursuing that. It makes me sad. It's tough. It's tough making these choices. Okay. So just to clarify here, teachers are awesome for the most part. I love teachers. I am going to write this man back and suggest that his wife leave the school system and become a private homeschool teacher for other people's children. And basically hang out a shingle, go in as an entrepreneur. She's a trained teacher, which is what it is, but she is, and people really want that stamp of approval from some higher institution level to that end. And so I encourage teachers to, especially the ones who are feeling like, it's not working, right? The parents aren't doing their part. The children aren't performing to expectation or even to ability. Maybe it's the institution. Okay, I've said enough because this was supposed to be on Crash Course in Homeschooling. Okay, the do's and don'ts. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Sam Sorbo. It's been a pleasure. Thank you for joining me. Please subscribe and go to samsorbo.com. You can sign up for my newsletters there. And go have a great rest of your day. God bless.